Hi.
Hi, Riane.
Hi, my dear. Are we on?
We are on. We are on the World Wide Web, and yes, the world can see us. And I'm very excited because there are some friends who are joining from last week. Oh, don't forget to hit the little chat button so you can see what people say.
Oh, wait a minute. The chat button
Yeah, it's
is
that little bubble
share
with
screen.
um go to the right. It's on the far right of the screen under
On
like
the
on the
top.
margin.
It's on the top, isn't it?
No, it should be on the right.
Wait a minute. There are three little, where the three dots are.
Mm-mm. It's on the right. I'm so sorry, everybody. I should have solved this earlier. Um, no, it is on the right-hand side of the screen, not our screen where our faces are, but all the way in the black area, like right at the edge of the window.
At the edge of the window. All I have is leave. Now let's
Don't
see.
leave, please.
I
Maybe it's differently formatted on your side.
I have restreamed the land and add channels. I don't want to add channels. It doesn't say what these
Don't
things
get
are, and
distracted.
I'm afraid to just hit them because I'll
Yeah.
disappear.
Yeah, don't do that. Okay, do you have anything on the right? Is there anything on the right side of your screen or on the left?
Enter
Maybe check
full
on the left.
screen. No, I don't want to do the full screen. Um, let's see. It just doesn't say. The only thing that it says is share screen, disable camera, mute, and then there are the three dots. Do I dare? Let me put
Sure,
this
dare. Let's dare. We can always fix
extra
it. We know
camera,
how.
share screen settings. So that's not it.
Do you see anything anywhere else? It should be under like I wonder if
On
there's a
my
way that I
right,
can. Oh, you know what? Hold on a second.
enter
Let me
full.
add the chat to the screen.
Oh, well, then if you can do that,
Hang on, let me see if I can do that presentations. Sorry, everybody. Technically, oh, Chris is back from Bolivia. Hold on, let me see how I add. 1 second, Chris. Chris, local.
live studio restream, design economics, older people,
And the problem is Jay is on some magical trip somewhere. Replace high.
customer and control, Google Chrome. No, I don't want to do
No,
that.
none of that. How do I add a
Control your
stream?
music, tab search. I don't know, and I'm afraid to do to s-
Stream.
to add channel. You see, they don't tell you what it
I know.
is.
Hold on. Give me 1 second. I'm going to do a quick search. Hey, Chris. Chris, I had a chance to skim through your Parenting to Heal the World proposal. How do I add the chat to stream? Hold on. I do know. Option 1. Pop out chat. Everyone, give us 1 second because I really do want Riane to be able to see. On OBS restream. Make sure the chat is connected to the channel stream. Like pop out chat or widget settings. Pop out chat or widget settings. No. Oh well. You know what I can do? I'll
What?
do this. I'm just going to hit a button, and every time someone says something for you to see, you can see it there. You see how Chris said, here we are. Thank you, Jenna.
No, I can't see a thing.
You don't see that? Not on our main screen under my face right now?
No. Here we are. Thank you, Jenna.
You
I
see
see
that?
that. Yes, I see
Perfect.
that.
Okay, so anytime someone says something in chat, I can press a button to push it on to there. So
Okay,
this is
good,
Chris from Bolivia.
good. Hello, Chris.
Hello, Chris. Chris invited us, to an Ikigai conference, Japanese Ikigai conference, of which, Chris, I registered, but I have no idea how I'm going to participate in this virtual conference because it's in Japanese. I mean, they said that there would be AI and English over top, but I've never attended a Japanese hosted conference. Do you know what Ikigai is,
I
Riane?
have no idea.
Okay, I'm gonna butcher it, but I'm confident Chris is gonna come to a rescue here. But Ikigai is the Venn diagram of pause. Ikigai explanation image. Okay, so it is actually something that you and I both entirely ascribe to. Hold on. Here we go.
So I can't see.
I know, I'm gonna click on one that makes it big for us. Ikigai. So the theory behind Ikigai is that your Ikigai is your your purpose in life, which is the center. Oh wait, no. Hold on. We're gonna make this work.
And you're huge again.
I'm sorry. We could really use that producer friend. Okay, so your Ikigai, you can see it now, right?
Yes, I can.
Is the green thing in the middle.
Okay.
And this is how you figure out what you're supposed to do in life. So you see the yellow part, what you love. Then what the green part is what you're good at. The red part is what the world needs from you. And then the blue part is what you can be paid for.
Well, the green part or blue part is what we have to change.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true, huh?
And that's what we need to talk about changing to reward caring activities.
Although I would say that both what you love, what the world needs, and what you're good at also can be better nurtured, because what you are good at, I think so many more people are good at caretaking than they believe that they are raised to do. Like, there just isn't this culture of teaching people to take care of. And what the world needs is never, I don't think, a horizon that many people are asked to consider.
Well, I think that our educational system doesn't teach us how to care for self, for others, or for nature. And in my book, Tomorrow's Children, I call for that, which is a book on education. And it should be really a central theme from preschool to graduate school. And it is not part of our education. So we really, Tomorrow's Children, that is correct. And I've got the rights back and I'm going to update the book.
Oh, you do?
Yes, I do. Would you
Who
like
did you get?
from the publishers?
Did you email them and ask for them back? And they
Yes, I asked for it back, and they gave it back. And so
Great.
the book is still very applicable. But
Yeah.
first, another book that I'm working on now is The Power of Partnership, which, as you know, is a how-to book. And it focused on 7 relationships, and I'm adding an 8th one, which is a relationship with technology.
Oh.
And of course, it shows how all of these relationships are very different depending on the degree of orientation to either the domination system or the partnership system, on the partnership domination social scale. And because what we really have to understand is that the regression that we're seeing today towards domination worldwide uh, is because there have been so many movements, organized movements, challenging the same thing, domination. So, um, and how do you, I mean, he defines it differently. It's not the definition shared in the West, because we, in our summit, we had people from 26 nations, and they understand domination and partnership quite well. It's either interconnection, it's the partnership side, or top down, be it in the family, in the government, in education, in economics. So, but I think we do need to define it uh, and get people to understand that this is the real issue for our future. It's the struggle, if you will, between a regression to domination and a dead end, which is not adaptive today, this top-down model, or a continuing the movement with a frame toward partnership. And because we inherited our social categories from more rigid domination times. And that is the problem, that they fragment our consciousness. Right, left, religious, secular, Eastern, Western, Northern, Southern, when the real issue, whether it's a Chinese emperor or an Arab sheikh or an Indian pasha or so-called neoliberalism, which is neither new nor liberal, it's top down. It's trickle down economics, where those on top control most of the resources, whether it's in families, and of course they're male. So a real partnership starts with a partnership of the two genders and everybody in between, and leaving behind these very rigid stereotypes which say that real masculinity is not being like a woman, right? Not being caring, not being, all the things that we consider weak and feminine.
Hey, Chris, I would love to hear your definition of ikigai. I did just pull up your proposal to see if I could find it exactly, and I saw some pieces of it. Riane, I have a question for you. Are you familiar with this? Because as you know, I am laser focused on trying to figure out how we might be able to reconsider a new global order. Are you familiar with this word right here that I'm highlighting? It's called it's called it's the concept of the classical Chinese philosophy of Xianxia, or all under heaven. It's a contemporary it's this book that I'm starting to meander my way through, defining a philosophy of world governance through a Chinese philosophy known as all under heaven. And the key concept of this global governance theory is an ancient Chinese concept of Tiansha, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, or all under heaven, and argues the case for a new global political philosophy. All under heaven is a conceptualization of the world as the composition of three realms: the physical, physiological, and political, which places inclusivity and harmony at the heart of global worldview above all other considerations, transcending the notion of a nation state. In a highly interconnected, I'll finish the abstract, in a highly connected global, the idea of all under heaven, or Xianxia, can offer a new 21st century vision of international relations and world order based on harmonized global organization organization defined by the all-inclusive principle. The ontology of coexistence and relational rationality hand in hand with rational risk aversion in a globalized world. This pivot makes the case that Riane should offer a new vision for contemporary world order, redefining universality and legitimacy of politics. Anyway, this is part of my New World Order exploration. I was wondering if you were familiar with that concept.
No, I'm not, and it's a wonderful concept. The question is, how can we implement it in a world where most that's divided into nation states fighting one another for domination, right? So you have to look at both what is and what can be. And I absolutely agree that we can and we must move to something where we recognize that we're interconnected.
Now,
But
look at these
the
images.
question is how.
So I don't know the answer to that, but look at these images. Hold on, I want to see more images of the concept. I mean, it looks like, look at this map. Can you see this?
No, I really can't. All I see is wonderful covers of books.
Yeah, I know. Hold on. I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there. Do you see this now?
Yes, I do see this now.
This obviously means nothing to Riane and I. But I guess this is an artistic look. It's a piece that's currently in the British Museum, obviously. But I guess all under heaven, it seems like it's a Zhao concept. I mean, the question I always go to when I start to uncover things like this is the same thing that I always ask you, which is, when was this? This happened before, right? We have proof that it happened before because so many people are so skeptical that it can be done.
Well, look, there's more and more archaeological evidence, more and more remissing of the old stories, like the Odyssey. I always knew that it has clues to an earlier time.
Oh, by the way, I have in my list of things to do pitching a new rewritten version of the Odyssey based on our conversation last week.
Yeah, well, that is so important because what we need is not just deconstruction, but reconstruction. And so we need different stories, different journeys. I mean, the hero's journey has been the journey of the hero as killer. And even if you look at the Golden Grail, you see that it's only, he can only realize it and get the Golden Grail which is the chalice, of course, when he stops being the hero as killer. But when he has empathy, right? But who does he have empathy for? A king, someone of his rank. And that's just not enough. That is just simply, it helps to have some empathy, but that is still being in the nomination system.
So I came across this today. I thought this was really powerful. Do you see this?
Yes. And medieval feudalism and corporate feudalism, that is one wonderful chart. Send it
This
to
is
me.
good, isn't it? I will. This is good, isn't it?
Yes, this is
Because there's
excellent. Because we do have corporate feudalism. I mean, the big banks, the corporate elite, the elected
well, I'm
officials.
embarrassed to say that like under feudalism, I know the monarchs, but the owners of the central banks, I don't know any of these people. I've heard of Rothschild before, but I know big banks, but I don't know like the owners of the central banks.
Well, we are not privy to that information, Um, and this chart is excellent.
It's good, isn't it?
Yes, yes, because we need to know these people and we need to change the pyramid because it's the same domination system, you see.
I don't know where the image went. I'm sorry, it just disappeared. Hold on, I wanna bring it back. Hold on. Here it is again. What I thought was interesting was that the clergy was theoretically had more power, has the same power as the corporate elites do
Yeah.
today. And to me, that makes so much sense because clergy were the ones that were writing all the stories that we now have base entire currencies off of. And corporate elites now are playing that same role in terms of, as you said at the top of the conversation, we don't teach people how to take care of themselves or each other or the planet.
Yeah.
And it's the corporations that are telling you you're not enough without that handbag or without being that size waist or whatever it might be.
Well, the issue is very simple. It's adaptation. And we are today interconnected not only by technologies of communication and transportation, but by new nuclear weaponry, technologies of destruction. And it is simply not adaptive, the domination system. But speaking of clergy, they still have power. And I think that the movement towards interspirituality, um, while it has been very male centered, um, it is a very important movement. But it's happening everywhere. The women's movement, the children's rights movement, the movement against racism and anti Semitism, uh, the peace movement, the movement against war, uh, the movement for economic equity and social equity, and the environmental movement, they're all challenging domination, aren't they?
Yeah, but I don't know if people know that.
Well, we have to keep up the work of telling people that, of showing people that it is. There's a new book out called Goliath's Curse, and with he doesn't speak of consciousness. Luke, his name is Luke something or other,
Okay.
but he speaks of domination hierarchies, and it's in the air right now. The understanding, and his point is, well, he loves the Paleolithic, but that's it, Goliath's curse. And I'm trying to get the book. I listened to his interviews. I'm trying to get the book so that I can uh, read it online. And I guess I'll just have to get the book as it is
Wait,
because,
are you trying to get a digital copy of it? I can try to help you, or do you want me to just I can also order you a copy.
well, I'd like to get a digital copy of it.
Hmm. I mean, we could do Kindle, but I feel like do you have Kindle?
No, I don't. I don't have
Yeah.
Kindle.
No worries. Okay, so this one is more democratic societies tend to be more resilient. Duh. In our modern global Goliath, a collapse is likely to be long lasting and more dire than ever before. Great. Collapse may be invisible until after it has occurred. That's clear. It's possible we're living through one now. We are. Collapse has often had a more positive outcome for the general population than for the 1%. Ooh, I like that theory. All Goliaths contain the seeds for their own demise.
But strangely enough, he doesn't talk about changes in consciousness. He seems to think that rebellion is what happens, and that's force again. And it really, we can't use that anymore because force just replicates the system eventually.
Have you spent time reading Yuval Harari's *Sapiens*?
I read *Sapiens* and I didn't really agree with it. I have it someplace because his view of human nature is so dark. And we know from neuroscience, and Richard Davison, who was part of our summit, by the way, who is a neurologist who worked with the Dalai Lama, said this, that the evidence is to the contrary, that and Goliath's curse also mentions this, that when there is catastrophe, people help one another.
Okay, so I'm gonna don't say anything. I have a piece of evidence to share right now with everybody. Window. Can I share my text message? Will that dox me? I'm doing it anyway. Window, Chrome tab. I want to show my entire screen. Okay, I'm gonna do it. It might be a little risky. Here. Can you see this? No, here we go. This is what I want to show. Okay. So I just got a text message from another broom mom.
From
She's
another
another
mom.
mom in the class in one of our kids' classes, and she's set out bins of food on her corner. It says darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. To our community, take what you need, leave what you can. We wanted to provide a space for our neighbors and community to come together to support each other. Thanks for coming. Okay, she set that out. She sent me photos of this over the weekend. I said, "Oh, I'm so obsessed. We're going to see more and more of these. I'm sure of it, and this is a good thing." And she wrote back, 8:39, 2 minutes ago. It's been so wonderful. We've had to add another table, additional bins, and gone shopping because they have been emptied daily. I'm shocked people are coming to take things. I assumed we would just have donations. People are taking things that they need because I don't know what happened. It stopped sharing. This is a good thing when people have to show up for each other.
Yeah.
I think it can be a good thing.
Well,
Go ahead.
we are showing up for one another in various ways, but the institutions have to change and be more caring.
Yeah.
And that's our job, because otherwise the institutions just keep on going. If we don't work for transformation, we're not going to get it. And unfortunately, I mean, Marx felt that the quote women's question was secondary to the men's labor question. But it's all interconnected, because what do children learn in a family where the male head of household controls the resources? They learn very quickly that what matters is domination, not caring, not partnership. And we are at the point now where caring is really important.
And I think, to me, in raising Atlas, my son, who some of you saw last week,
Yes.
and he might be back in momentarily. I hear his pitter pattering upstairs. Is that is actually education of caring and the reward of caring might be the thing that breaks so many of these cycles. And the way that I do it, recognizing I have some privileged access to babies. I have a big family, lots of cousins. Lots of cousins are having lots of babies. And me instilling this responsibility to take care of the baby, teaching him how to hold the baby, teaching him how to change the diaper. And we're talking about when he was like 4 or 5 years old. He's learning how to braid his sister's hair, just like these more intimate moments that have typically and traditionally been pushed off to the female part, the domain of the home. I'm bringing him into, and he is loving it and he's thriving in it and he wants to do more of it. um, I'm trying to suss out more opportunities to do those things because I know I'm blind to so many more of the other opportunities, that I could take advantage of. But anyway,
Well,
um,
I think that you're holding yourself to a very high standard. You're doing what you can, Jenna. And if everybody does what they can, then we have a change in institutions, in the rules of the game. And we are really back to the four cornerstones that I write about, which is family and childhood, because neuroscience shows how what children observe and experience in their early years, which is mostly in families, uh, really shapes nothing less than how our brains develop, and with it, how we feel, how we act, including how we vote. And we think in group versus out group in domination systems. And really, only as we move do we recognize the importance of caring, uh, and of interconnection. And it is not a pie in the sky. I mean, it is caring that really matters. Look at your friends, who set this up and is helping people, is caring.
yeah.
But we have to have institutions that are set up to caring. We have to have those. And that's why I love the chart that you have of the pyramid, um, because it is really so good.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Well, it's interesting. So, and I will, Chris, we're going to come back to your definition of ikigai. I promise you. Um, in my, as I mentioned, trying to think of and try to identify and pull together the folks that might have some interesting ideas around, um, what a new world order could look like. If we're clear on the cornerstones, what is it? What are some of the bigger challenges around like the nation state, and what are we going to do to move away from them? Because so many folks, there's either like there's people who are committed but then they get demoralized because they feel like they can't make a change, and instead of pointing toward the system, they point toward each other as being the fault. And I was laying in bed thinking about an analogy, and I think the best one is probably a car or the engine of a car, where you have people in the car who were yelling at each other because of a funny sound coming from the engine. And yet, no one in the car, neither the passenger or the driver, can define the screw that's loose in the engine or exactly what needs to happen to swap out the screw, change it. Maybe we don't need the screw at all. If we can think of a car and the engine as the system, as the policies, as the borders, as the nation states, and here we are angry at each other, the passengers in the car, when the fault is it's time for newly constructed cars, newly constructed engines.
That's
And
correct.
I think there's some engine, there's some car analogy to me. And so we get so caught up in the othering of the other side. And mind you, my list is very, very long for people who are supporting the current regime. And he's not going to be able to fix anything. And if I was elected president or you were elected president tomorrow, whoo, I don't know if we'd be able to fix anything. There's so much gutting of the system that has to be done. But instead, we're regressing to these very, I don't know, elementary stances of blaming each other.
Well, slavery is a form of domination, and it came with the shift from a partnership social uh, organization. But we have the chance to tell new stories and to also deconstruct the old ones. And I think that's where we have to start because people are so wedded. I mean, I didn't realize how Homer was a propagandist for the hero as killer. And the whole hero's journey that he describes uh, is just that. You know,
Do
and we
you but isn't this like the Joseph Campbell stuff too, the hero's journey of like
oh, absolutely.
it's all about oneself, and isn't it like all savioristic-y? Like it doesn't I don't know. I don't know. I'm really I imagine it must be older than Homer, or is Homer really the moment?
No, Homer came quite late in the game because already, um, I mean, if we are to believe the story about him, there had been a shift. But notice where Odysseus gets his power through Penelope, a woman.
Yes.
And notice
Actually,
how,
I don't know if I remember how Odysseus got his power from Penelope. I just remember that Penelope was Odysseus's wife.
well, he has to get his power through her, through the quote sacred marriage, which we for people don't know their history, but if you look at the hymns of Inanna in Sumer, that's already after the shift, and she says she wanted to marry a farmer, but her brother made her marry a herder. But even then, I mean, it has all the clues of the Namaya invasions, which, by the way, go, are ignored in Goliath's curse, are very interesting. A lot of I mean, the Paleolithic is idealized by him, but he doesn't understand that the shift happened much earlier than the first states. They consolidated domination, and today we have a movement, a regional movement of rewilding. Remember?
I love that term.
Yeah, of rewilding, and it's a regional movement. I mean, there's an understanding that our problems are global and that we're interconnected, and that whether it's climate change, which is really amazing that people, that the storms have been increasing over as the temperature has risen, and it's ignored by the very people who are the most affected by it. It is really, and he ignores the change in consciousness, that aha moment that happens when you realize that for most of our cultural evolution, we oriented more to partnerships and domination. And
There's
our job is to adapt this to complex technologically advanced societies, because these were neither complex societies, but the point that he makes is that there were hundreds and hundreds of people in these early settlements, that it wasn't just a band of 20, 25 people. So, but even so, today we have whole states of millions of, and of course the whole population explosion is a gendered issue, isn't it? Because if you read some of the books that have been done about women, for example, in Africa, they want more than anything else family planning.
And the problem, amongst 10,000 other problems, is that so many of the philanthropic medical initiatives on the continent are underwritten by missionary based organizations that are overseen by the Catholic Church, and they don't do family planning.
Well, this is why I disagree with that chart in not putting clergy in, because
Oh, clergy is
organized,
in there.
no, but it's only on the old map, not the new one.
Oh.
And the clergy uh, really have a lot of power. And this is why the interspiritual movement is so important, by the way.
Where
See?
would you put them? See, I actually think like influencers are higher than clergy in some point. I just think we're still navigating the inherited clergy stories.
Well, that's it. And what it means is that this is an economic map, okay? But even economically speaking, as you just pointed out, Jenna, uh, the organized religions have enormous resources, enormous, and therefore a lot of control. But most of the control, and I wrote in The Chalice and the Blade about standing reality on its head. I have two chapters on that, and it had to do with changing the story. Changing the story. Yes, I mean, the original thing was force, but then you can't keep people, you have to change people's consciousness. And that is our hope. And the summit that we just had helps people connect the dots between family and the violence in families and the violence of war and crime and terrorism, because that's where people learn that violence is not only normal, it normalizes violence, but it that it's moral.
I'm going to play this clip, okay? Hold on, let me just make sure it looks correct. Yes, it does look correct. This was a clip from
From
the Peace
Zaizeb.
Begins at Home summit that Riane is referencing.
We may find not only solutions, but joy beyond our dreams. I am a testament of that. Now I understand why my mother said when I was a child in Iraq, watch the birds, honey, she would tell me, picking persimmons. They know when fruits are ripe. And only then can you harvest it. Can you pick it up? Our garden is gone. My mother is gone too. But it is never too late to plant new seeds between the trees, myself, ourselves, and every bird out there. As a matter of fact, as one Guatemalan indigenous leader said, there's no better time to plant the seeds for the future than this time. After all, we can only plant seeds in the darkness of the soil and perhaps in what feels like darkness of our time. It is time to plant new seeds for new relationships with nature.
I loved that. That
That's
gave me
hope,
so much hope.
and also new relations with one another and with ourselves.
And Riane, on this Wednesday night on November 12th, 2025, on Twitch and Substack and Instagram and YouTube, is planting seeds. And even though it's dark outside, for both she and I, this is the garden that we hope to be watering. Riane, I would love to go back to Chris because I have a feeling he is patiently waiting for us to respond
Yes,
to
and
some of
and
his
and and
comments.
and I want to say that there are many people who are working, including Chris, to
Yes.
move us forward, who use perhaps different language, but language, we need new terms. And domination and partnership are new terms. But please, I want to hear what you have to say, Chris.
So Ikigai, that initial graph that I had shared with you, he had a different definition. He says, for me, Ikigai living is located at the meeting point of three axes: the individual axis, the social axis, and the creator axis. Okay. Here, six dynamics merge. The individual axis, doing what I love, my path of passion towards happiness and what I am good at, my path of perfection towards self-mastery. Okay. Then the social axis, doing what society asks for and needs, my path of contribution to serve, which Riane and I stand by, and what I can be paid for, my professional path to achieve rewarding prosperity. And then the creator axis, doing what I feel a call for. My path for vocation for spiritual growth and what the planet needs deserves. My path of stewardship to harmonize with and care for the planet.
Well, and if that helps some people to move from domination to partnership, it's wonderful. I would use perhaps different language than that. Rather than self mastery, I would use really getting in touch with my deeper self.
Why is because mastery is still too dominated?
Well,
Domination,
because
Riane.
language is internalizes that what that signals is a domination system, and that you want to dominate yourself, your baser instincts, quote unquote. But neuroscience shows that we learn so much of our baser instincts. And even, in Nurturing Our Humanity, the book that I wrote that in 2019, that was published by Oxford University Press, shows that even men who have a gene, okay, that have a gene that would predispose them to violence, in studies of men in prison, it showed that only those men who had what, again, in this book, I use as part of the evidence, adverse childhood experiences exhibited violence. So you really have to connect the dots. And we have been taught to not think of parenting and caregiving as central to our consciousness. But I like that, replacing the pyramidal system by a spherical system. And that is a change of paradigm. And if you go to our Center for Partnership.org website, if you go to the very top, you can get the media kits, a lot of visuals and you'll see the change from a pyramidal system to a spherical system. So I'll go to what is this?
Let me just look at resources, toolkits. Here it is.
Yeah. Well, no, you can go up above. What are the three words above?
The partnership toolkit.
Oh, and you can get that free, by the way.
Yes.
But what I'm talking about, if you go to the very top of the page, after
Yeah.
there are three
About
categories.
podcasts, donate, partnership systems and partnerism, programs, take
No,
action.
no. What is the thing? I'll have to look for it. Just a second,
Okay.
because what you find
Who's
is
helping you with this, Leah? The website?
yes, from domination to partnerships. These are the things. The partnership, the domination to partnership scale. But I wait a minute. What is going on here? I have too many.
Here are the four cornerstones.
Yeah. And how did you get to these?
This is in the partnerism link.
All right. But if you go to Chrome and you go, all right, where are we here? I've got too much open here.
That's a good thing for a 94-year-old Riane.
Just a second. All right, let me go to Chrome and open it. And I don't know why I'm having so much trouble finding the website. It's all stuck. All right, I'll close current tab. And why am I not finding this? All right. So if we go to Chrome, and but I can't get it to open. All right, Chrome. About settings. All right. Well, I give up.
Okay.
Because
what's the image that you want me to try to find?
the switch that Chris spoke about.
The sphere.
Yeah, from the pyramid to the sphere. But
Okay,
you
give me
have
a second.
to
I'll
find
scroll real
them
quick.
through the top of the thing.
All right, let me just see if let me go through it real quick. I know social wealth index. We have to talk about the social wealth index, by the way. I also see if we can invite Jackson onto a conversation. He was eager to join. Let me see. Program partners and scholarship take action. Issue gender equity. Hey, Chris, are you okay if I send all the media? Oh, actually, I think I already did all the media content to Riane. I'm sure you'd be okay with it.
Well, you see, you didn't do it from the top, and for some reason I can't get into my website. About what do they say about
About
and then
podcast donate.
All right. And what is podcast and donate? There used to be another one. All right, go back to about.
Okay, mission and history team, speakers, bureau, supporters.
I just can't figure it out why I can't get to that. All right. Well, anyway, if you go to that website and you what and you
Let me
hit
see if you have it in one of these other places, because I do have. Is this in those modules? Is it in any of the modules?
no, it is really it doesn't matter, honey. It
Okay.
really doesn't.
It sounds like Chris is on top of it anyway.
Good. Well, all I wanted to share with Chris is that we're really on the same page. Well, then that's lovely. That is
That's really
absolutely
beautiful.
lovely.
And then, Chris, my question is what is the concept of naturalization? Is that just like intuitive, being cared for? I mean, I know your children had such unique experiences living in the natural world in so many different countries. This was his follow-up comment. But by our essence, oh, amen, Chris.
Yeah, so we have to harmonize our institutions with our essence. And we've been told the wrong story about our essence, that we are naturally, quote unquote, selfish and evil. And that has been the premise for greed.
Here's Chris's book. This is his press kit. Let's pretend, Chris, tell me to abort mission if you want me to pull this down, but let me just walk through it with Riane. So this is, he's from France originally, but lives in Bolivia, as we established last week.
Yes,
He raised 11 children. Did you see this?
I know. I went through this and I was amazed. But I would love to hear more about the mother of these children.
What was that, your takeaway?
Well, I didn't find that much about her, but maybe Chris can tell us about her.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm going to do?
What?
I'm going to put my kids to sleep and I'm going to read another chapter of your book.
Good. I think that sounds like.
How about if I give you, if you want, I'll happily and actively give you feedback. I wasn't giving you feedback about David not being blind, not having any blind spots, but my take on how easy he fell into your relationship made me believe that he was already seeing, and it sounds like he wasn't.
No,
and that was so much work you had to do.
We both changed, and that is something that I really need to put in, that we both changed. And we both were able to grow.
But it did strike me that, like, right out the gates, you were both the first day.
I know, he was amazing.
You both were willing. I mean, you clearly, I thought you were still a little hesitant, which I loved and felt very responsible and I could relate to. And I was like, yeah, be careful, girl.
Yeah.
But it seemed like
he was being careful too. But at the same time,
what, with the Mozart question? I wouldn't call that careful.
Well, the questions were his being careful, but he jumped right in with his first poem. And it was such a beautiful poem.
You had me on the edge of my seat when you said, when there was like a half a sentence, it was like, and then he came back to my house for the third time that day. And I was like, what? To put a poem in my mailbox. And I was like, oh my God. Like
Yeah.
it just seemed, you know what? You know what made me sad for myself is that it seemed really easy.
It seems what?
It seemed really easy.
Well, it wasn't easy. And if you keep reading on, I was very ill.
Oh, I did not get to that. I got to the part about his wife, his ex-wife being so difficult.
Well, maybe the part about it not being so easy because I was ill needs to.
No. I think it's so beautiful. It's so I want to hand those 2 chapters to so many women I know
That is possible.
that it's possible.
It is possible.
Riane, I don't know any men like David. And I know a lot of men.
I know. He
I don't
was.
and I know a lot of men.
He was an extraordinary man. There's no question about
I'm
it.
excited to get to and I'm curious, like, was he a willing student or did you have to wrestle?
I had to remind him, and I remember when I read the book that got the Anisfield Wolf Award of his, The Healing of a Nation, and it was so sexist. The language, it was all
Did
he.
you say it with, like, your beautiful smile on your face of, like, "It was so sexist," because that's not how I would deliver that news.
I probably didn't deliver it that way either,
Okay, that makes me feel better.
but maybe that needs to be part of the story.
Well, you come across, I mean, I know you, but you do come across as sharp and boundaried and learned and not open for business unless this is business.
Yeah.
And so I don't worry about you in the book, or at least at the part of the book that I'm at. I don't worry about you. I hope Jamia reads it. Let's give her a couple more weeks and then I'll ping her and I'll be like, look, this might not be your book because this is a love story for the ages that we all need. Can you just read a couple of chapters and let us know where else to go with it?
Yeah, and tell her that I'm willing to add and subtract. I
Well,
just
I
want,
do think it is interesting that, like, we're at a time. I mean, this is something to consider that we're in a time where women still have a hard time being heard by men. That's my biggest challenge in my marriage. That's the biggest challenge in all of my friends' marriages. Is like, how do you get their attention? Not because they're like going to play poker, but because they're juggling life too. And they're not bearing witness or like seeing in a really authentic way where we are. And I don't see any other men of my generation or even older who are doing a ton of sincere work on themselves. I know a lot of men in the men's movement who are, i.e. Jackson, i.e. Jackson. But your average gentleman living in Westwood who writes poetry,
well, David did.
Yeah, I know. Well, where are all the Davids? Maybe that's the title of the book.
Well, I want people to know that people like David exist, men like David exist.
I want my daughters to read those. Like I want And look, maybe you have romanticized him, but you've romanticized him for me. his body of work has certainly spoken for itself. And the few chapters of the book that I've read, I'm certainly intrigued enough to be like, are there others out there?
I'm sure there are others out there.
Well, maybe you and David could have a little conversation upstairs and shuttle them along.
Yes, we will.
Okay. All right. Well, on that note, Riane, thank you so much for coming back.
Oh,
I'm going
my
to schedule
pleasure.
Jackson. Let's schedule Jackson for the
Oh,
next
let's
call.
schedule Jackson. I'd love to have a conversation with Jackson.
How would you feel about Jackson reading some pieces of your manuscript?
Oh, I'd love that.
Great. So why don't you, Jackson, and I pick up on Where Are All the Davids on our next conversation?
Where are all the Davids?
Where are all the
Why don't you send Jackson my manuscript?
I will. I'll CC you so that you can see it all, but
That
I
I'd
will
be
tell
part
him.
of it. I mean, I love him. And yeah,
All right.
let's
Well,
do that.
we'll book Jackson. And
Where
I
are
love you
all
in
the
purple.
Davids?
I love you in purple. You look very pretty.
Thank you, my dear.
All right, I'll see you soon, okay?
Okay. Yeah, it goes with my
bye.
white hair.
Yes, it looks with your lipstick, it really works. See ya.
See you, my love. And see you, Chris.
Yeah, bye, Chris. We look forward to hearing more from you in the future.
Bye bye.